Dan and I met when I was 21. We dated for a year and then decided to move in together. We lived together for 6 years and then we bought a house. We liked to garden at the house. We had 2 cats. We did a lot of hiking. We were just kind of settling into lifelong plans. On November 16th, 2007, Dan returned home from work and he interrupted a burglary in process. He was murdered in our home. It's hard to describe. You're just alone. It's your entire thought process changes. Everything you ever imagined has been erased, and you're now fighting to figure out who you are and who you want to be. As reality started setting in and I had to move into the things that I needed to do and get done, there were things that you wouldn't think of that you have no rights to. I couldn't claim his body. It wasn't my decision on whether he was buried or cremated. Funeral arrangements were made by his parents, and when you're not allowed to do that for the person that you love the most in life, it's just a slap in the face. They're painful things, but to be told that you don't have the right to do that is just unheard of. I was very lucky that Dan was from a very loving family. His parents supported me wholeheartedly. I know not everybody gets that treatment, and I do know when life changes on you that fast, I have to admit there were moments where I was worried. I didn't know how they would react. I was really in fear of what was going to happen to me and how I was going to be treated. We had talked about marriage. Just before he died, domestic partnership passed in Oregon, and so we were planning on that January going and getting registered. Although we weren't husband and husband, we did consider each other life partners. And the terms are important. We lived together for 7 years. When I found his body, the police would only call me his roommate. If we had been legally married, that wouldn't have happened. I would have been called his husband. And I think that the terminology is very important. I think a lot of people think it's just a word, but it has a lot of meaning behind it. Dan's workplace legacy is a great example of a company that really wants to do the right thing, but they're restricted by federal law when it comes to pensions. Pensions are, you have to be legally married. You can't get it otherwise. In dealing with the household issues and turning off utilities, people were very compassionate and sympathetic to my story, but their hands were tied. They couldn't do anything for me. I think that domestic partnership's an important step, but it's not full equality. I think that it's a confusing term. I think when people hear it in an emergency situation, they don't know what it means and they don't know what rights people have. When you hear, "This is my husband, we're married," you're treated a completely different way. Domestic partnership's a great accomplishment, but it's not the end of the road. I started working with Basic Rights Oregon on the Strut fashion show, and that was largely in part to Dan. We've always fought for equality. After he died, I felt really strongly that I needed to continue my work with Basic Rights Oregon. I really don't want anybody to have to go through what I've gone through. He's somebody I'm going to miss forever. He pops in my mind often, and I just really tried to live in a way that honors who he was and what he taught me in life. And we looked forward to having our day with our friends and family and becoming a married couple, and it's a huge regret that I'll never have that. And I don't want that to be the same for others. And so the work needs to be done so that marriage equality exists. At a time when I needed my community, Basic Rights Oregon was there. I think that the work they do is outstanding, and I think that everybody in our community needs to continue to help. It's time for the people of Portland and our greater community to have a conversation with their friends and family about why marriage matters to them.